Tonight on Scrappy Time, we're sitting here at Gloria Johnson's house on a hillbilly pool talking about healthcare, and I got my lovely wife Stacy with me. Stick around, it's gonna be fun. Woo!
Oh, that's good.
I watch the sun fall from a rock outcrop. The moon slowly rose and the valley filled with fog. And then I heard a commotion on the trail down below. Carbide lights were coming up the mountain, and they were led by Mother Jones singing, "Which side are you on, boys? Which side are you on?" I never wanted to leave the top of a mountain, 'cause Lord knows I love to get high. I never wanted to leave the top of a mountain unless I was headed to the by and by, to that mountain in the sky, the sweet by and by. Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. I'm hanging out on the back deck here in Knoxville, Tennessee with State Representative Gloria Johnson. How you doing today, Gloria?
I'm doing great. I'm doing absolutely great.
Well, I appreciate you having us over today to
I'm glad you came over.
ask some questions and, have a couple drinks and sit in your pool. This is quite the above ground pool.
It's excellent. It's way above ground, actually.
It is. That's kind of what I'm saying. I'm impressed. Above ground pools, they go real well, where I'm from, and this one's might be the best one I've ever seen. Well, we're going to talk about some healthcare issues today, and I appreciate Gloria taking the time to meet with us, and especially the accommodations. But Gloria, first of all, what district are you in, and tell us what got you into politics.
Oh, wow. So this is House District 13. It's kind of a crazy gerrymander district. Goes from, kind of define it from Central High School to South Doyle High School to West High School, and that's about the boundary of it. So it takes it a big, two giant precincts in South Knoxville, then mostly a little bit west and a little bit north. The reason I got involved in politics, a couple reasons. That I initially was kind of fed up after two terms of George Bush, and I really liked Barack Obama, and so I decided I'd volunteer for him, and that's kind of what got me involved. Then I became party chair, and we needed a candidate, and I was pretty upset with things that were happening in education. They'd taken a teacher's seat at the table away, and I wasn't happy with that, and so I decided, well, the best way to change it is to join it, so that's why I ran.
I think a lot of folks don't realize it, and I didn't realize it until it started going in my head after you and I had a conversation one time, and I started paying more attention to what happens at the state level. But once you find out what's going on at the state, you're like, man, this is where the stuff that makes my blood pressure go up on a daily basis is happening.
Right, and it's it's the government that's closest to you. The decisions that your county government and your state government make affect you a lot more a lot of the times than some of the federal stuff. People tend to focus at the federal level, and while that's happening, things that are really bad are happening at the state level because folks aren't watching it.
Well, just so everybody knows, Representative Johnson here is the one that probably is most responsible for getting me into this mess. So I guess I appreciate your mentorship.
Well, I appreciate you stepping up to run and represent the people in Blount County and not the special interest in Nashville.
That's right. expand some more on the process that Obamacare created, as far as at the state level. So when we say we've left money sitting on the table, what exactly do we mean by that?
It's unfortunate there's such a misunderstanding when it comes to Obamacare or the ACA, because so many people in Tennessee feel like the ACA did them wrong because they still can't get coverage. And what they don't understand, it was the governor and the supermajority that kept them from getting that health care. Because after the lawsuit that said you couldn't mandate, then states had the ability to not expand Medicaid. And so our state is one of the few left. Now a majority of the states have done it either in their legislature or on a ballot initiative. And what a lot of Tennesseans don't understand, we don't have that ballot initiative in Tennessee. And so we can't do it that way unless we change laws to do it that way, and that's going to take time. I'm not against doing it, but I'm just telling people that's going to be the long way. For us, we kept thinking they're going to realize, just like every other state realized, we've got to do this. There is $1.4 billion with a B dollars set aside for us every year to take care of Tennesseans who need that affordable care. And we're sitting here in a pandemic, a worldwide pandemic, and we're not taking those funds so that people can get care, so that we don't lose these rural hospitals. We just lost another one in the Upper Cumberland. It just blows my mind that we are removing health care from these rural counties because we won't take those federal dollars, and people are dying because of it.
Yeah. So when you say federal dollars, everybody needs to understand that is our tax money. Okay, that's money that you and I have already paid in. And so, Gloria, if we're not taking that $1.4 billion every year, where does it go?
Well, it goes to other states that will take it. But it is Tennessee tax dollars returning to Tennessee.
Right.
And we are refusing that. It makes no sense. And so you'll see where the governor says, well, so we're going to give $10 million to these rural hospitals to make sure they stay open. So we're taking money out of our budget to put into these hospitals, where if we would just accept those free Medicaid expansion dollars, then we wouldn't have to put money from the budget into keeping those hospitals running. And so the reality is we could take those funds and we could pass Medicaid expansion. People would, when you have a healthier state, you have more people back to work. Studies across the country that folks that have expanded Medicaid, Michigan did a study to see how their lower middle and working folks, how they were doing because of expansion. They saw across the board it lowered people's debt. It increased their ability to get loans. They were able to get loans to get cars and things like that. So they were able to improve their economic status by getting better jobs because they had more options for travel, more options for training. It was a huge boon to Michigan's economy. And then you look at Ohio, where you've got the vast majority of their folks all on health care now because their Republican governor took the expansion. And what you see in Ohio is, of those that are now on Medicaid expansion, 96% of those with opiate addiction get treatment. In Tennessee, only 13% get treatment. It was 11, we've gone up to 13%. You throw a few $million at it, you get 2%. If we expanded Medicaid, we could get up in the 90%. We could seriously be helping those folks up here who have serious addiction issues, and we could be seriously addressing that.
And saving money on the other side because we're not locking people up for a disease.
Exactly.
One question I get from time to time, and I'm interested to hear how you address it when it comes to expanding Medicaid, is how can it be, quote unquote, free money to Tennessee, as we were just saying, and when does that come home to roost and the state actually have to take up, the slack and that sort of thing? So,
like I said, it's Tennessee tax dollars coming back to Tennessee, and when after the fourth year of Medicaid expansion, then we were responsible for 5% of those dollars, and it goes up to 6%. The maximum it will go up to is 10%. The most the state would ever have to pay is 10%. In Tennessee, because this is affecting our hospitals so negatively that we haven't expanded, the Hospital Association has said they would cover the part that the federal government doesn't cover.
You know, the thing that I always remind people when they say, well, we don't need government to be involved in healthcare. I mean, there's all kind of answers to that, but specifically to what we're talking about, those same people that are questioning that, if they're with the Chamber of Commerce or, the state tourism folks, and there's $1.4 billion of our money returning to the state because it's for infrastructure or tourism, they'd be all about it.
Right.
And that's what is so frustrating, because this is way more important than that. This is about people living and dying.
And the problem is, the Knoxville Chamber was for Medicaid expansion. I think the State Chamber of Commerce was on board for Medicaid expansion.
Well, our contingency in Blount County at the time, our state senator was Doug Overby.
Right.
He was for, Haslam's Insure Tennessee, which essentially is the same thing.
And we can still do Insure Tennessee if that's the direction they want
Bob
to go.
Ramsey's for it. My opponent is against it, and y'all need to remember that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm pretty sure mine is as well. But the reality is, 66. I think the last poll was 66% of Tennesseans, and that's people on both sides of the aisle, favor it. And typically, what my Republican friends say to me, and I use it a lot too, it's a no-brainer. It just doesn't make sense. They want to take federal dollars for everything else we do, but they don't want to take those dollars. When I talk to somebody on a doorstep, which sadly we're not doing, we're not knocking doors yet.
That's the reason we're sitting here on a Saturday morning in a pool.
Otherwise we'd be knocking doors.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, when you say to somebody, no one in Tennessee should lose their home or the business, they agree with you 100%. And when you say to somebody, every child should be able to go to the doctor when they're sick, nobody disagrees with that. But people don't understand that that's not what hundreds of thousands of people in Tennessee have.
Well, Gloria, to wrap this up, what do we need to do to fix all this?
Well, honestly, the best thing that we can do is elect you.
Hey,
we need more folks up in Nashville at the legislature who really want to serve the citizens of their district. And that's what we have a lack of. We've got folks catering to the AFP, Americans for Prosperity, instead of bringing home what their people want. And so we need more folks who believe in the people to be in Nashville.
You heard it from Gloria's mouth, everybody. Gloria. Gloria. Remember that in November, and I hope you'll follow her advice and give old Scrappy a try too.
He was behind me. Right there in my mirror, that red, white, and blue STP. If it hadn't been for the number 43, I could have been the king.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that conversation I had with my good friend Gloria Johnson. She's been a great representative for her district and a great Tennessean. And she's probably responsible for the reason I'm in this mess. But it's an important mess. We have a lot of people out there, hardworking Tennesseans, that don't have access to insurance, which means they don't have access to our healthcare system. And we need to change that. And it's real easy to do that. It's called expanding Medicaid. It's not a new invention. This is something that's been sitting on the table for years, and it's our tax money. Billions of dollars sitting there that we have ignored and said we would rather throw our middle finger up to Washington, D.C. than take that money. If it was for anything else other than healthcare, they'd probably take it. Because you know what? They're not that interested in helping out working Tennesseans, and I am. When I get to Nashville, I'll work with Gloria Johnson to make sure we expand Medicaid, and you can count on that.
Down to sleep and prayed the Lord my soul to keep, and that I'd see Petey when I die. And Lord, I hope you love dogs too. I think Jesus loves dogs too. As the years passed on, many dogs had come and gone.
Always seem to ease the pain that I feel within. And you've been coming around a little more each day. Could you stop by tomorrow so we can play?
Big enough so you can put a float in it. I can actually put 2 floats in it. So.
That's what I'm saying. You're not gonna lay there and just, sun worship.
Yeah.
Or hell, we put it on the deck. Hey everybody, I want you to know that campaigns run on money and we need your help. Whether it's a one-time payment or recurring, you can do it at jclark410.com.